Hey, everybody, it's John Halpin. That's Josh Katzowitz with me. Welcome to the Week 12 Friday edition of Pickwatch Live. The post-Thanksgiving Day, post-football, there was a brawl in college football apparently last night.
Not enough turkey to go around or something?
Mississippi State. They apparently got angry at each other as usual, but people got ejected. It was an ugly one. I got a friend who's a Mississippi State fan. I'll ask him about it. I'm sure I know which side he's going to take on it. But how's your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. We ate a lot of food. You know, it's like every year I go into it saying, listen, I'm not going to eat enough where I feel uncomfortable afterward, like grossly uncomfortable. And about halfway through, I'm like, forget it. I'll just eat as much as I want, and then I'll feel terrible. And that's how it goes. Last night, I felt pretty uncomfortable, but not grossly uncomfortable. So for me, it's a win.
I was grossly uncomfortable. Do you remember? Do you watch The Simpsons?
I did a long time. I haven't for many years, but yeah, I did.
There was an episode where Homer, basically he gave up and, buttoning the pants and started wearing a kimono instead. That's kind of how I felt last night. Like I woke up this morning, like, this has got to stop. This is so bad. My weakness is all this, like I love the whole Thanksgiving spread, but all the, when we eat dinner at 4:30, but we got there at 12 and there's like stuff out.
Yeah. Cheese
and dips and that. And I just can't control myself. I just walk around like, oh, hey, I was here 5 seconds ago, but here's another cracker. So let me have that.
So it's embarrassing for me. I did the same thing yesterday. It was Triscuits and some kind of fig goat cheese. And I just ate the crap out of it. And I'm like, keep going back for more and more and more. And you're like, are people watching me? Are people watching me? Because it feels like I'm just eating everything here.
Yeah. So I know people who are watching here every week they're like, how's that guy on one side? How does he keep getting bigger? What's going on there? Anyway, it's going to stop. I was going to make a 10-pound pledge before Christmas just because if I said it publicly, I couldn't back out of it.
That you were going to, not gain 10?
I was going to drop 10.
Oh, you dropped 10. Okay.
Yeah. That's 4 weeks. That's 4.5 weeks. Is it doable?
It's doable, but you got to really not eat very much.
I got to go hardcore, yeah.
You got to go hardcore.
I'll think about it over the weekend. Something's got to change, though. Anyway, let's talk football. No one wants to hear about my problems anymore and all of our eating. So, because I'm sure they have their own stories. All right, so yesterday, Thanksgiving recap. We didn't do well. I was 1-2. You were 0-3. So, we have problems elsewhere other than food. So let's just go over the games. First game, the Bears-Lions. Chase Daniel was okay. I mean, the big thing, you're watching this game and you make a pick, right? And you say, you know what? I switched during the week from Bears to the Lions after the news about Mitch Trubisky because I said, you know what? I was on the fence with the spread anyway. So I figured, you know what? I'll go that way. And it was looking fine. And then Stafford throws the pick six. And you go, you know what? Dude, come on. And that was terrible for him to throw that. And it just, it looked like the Lions were doing fine, and then they weren't.
I was surprised as well. I thought that because it was such a quick turnaround from the Bears playing Sunday night to then having to go on the road for an early Thursday game, that was going to affect them. And I think it probably did affect them a little bit. Mm-hmm. They didn't look quite as good as you would have expected. Normally, if this game was a Sunday to Sunday type game, and it looked like the Lions, had a heartbeat, and then the pick six was the killer. But Chase Daniel was okay. I mean, he was good enough. He's what you want your backup to be in a situation like that. And the Lions are just whenever you count on the Lions, you're going to get burned. And I saw that again, and usually it's not necessarily Stafford who's doing it, but it was on Thursday, and it's just another disappointing loss and a disappointing season for Detroit.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. Otherwise, Chase Daniel was, he was not bad. I mean, it was a lot of dinking and dunking, but we expected that. LeGarrette Blount, a couple touchdowns, so I guess no one left on the Lions. I mean, they lost other skill players. That was rough. Redskins Cowboys. That game just turned on a dime. That was. At one point, I'm watching, I'm going, you know what? The Redskins with Colt McCoy look like they're going to pull this out, and they're actually doing well. And within about 20 minutes, it was 31-13 Dallas. It was, Amari Cooper changes them. I mean, I didn't think they should have given up the number one pick for him, but he changes that offense. He changed things for Zeke, and he's playing well. Someone's finally using him the right way, it looks like. They're a lot more interesting now that they have him.
It's really interesting. It is strange how one person can change it all. It seems like. What are they, 3-0 since they've gotten him? 3-0, 4-0, something like that since they've gotten him.
Yeah.
And we talk so much about how they were such a one-dimensional offense before they had him, and it doesn't seem like he was a good receiver, but he wasn't like a. I guess he had the talent to be a superstar receiver, but he never really was. And now they've really gotten something good out of him, and it makes that offense a little more multidimensional. And Dak is playing a little bit better, and Ezekiel is still being awesome. And I think the Cowboys benefit from a pretty weak division, but yeah, man. I mean, it's you don't want to necessarily give up your pick like that, like they did, but Jason Garrett's coaching for his life, and they did what they had to do, and now they're in a position where they can win that division. And all of a sudden, and maybe it's not a great thing long term for Dallas. I don't think Jason Garrett's a Super Bowl winning coach, but certainly they've done something right with Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that was really they played really well in the second half of that game. Finally, Falcons Saints. So the Saints score right away. I think this is, if I remember everything correctly, the Falcons drove down right away, basically answered right back and got down near the goal line, and Matt Ryan fumbled. He got hit on the sack. And the Falcons wind up with 3 red zone and deep red zone turnovers. Julio he was getting helicoptered when he tackled and got hit inside the 10, fumbled. Calvin Ridley fumbled near the goal line late. I mean, the Falcons actually made a game of that last night, and they shot themselves in the foot by turning the ball over near the goal line 3 times.
So they were like early in the season. They're all their red zone woes. It's like the Falcons you're right. The Falcons can move the ball a little bit in the Saints. Just bad mistakes in the red zone, and you can't do that against the Saints, and you can't do it against the Saints in New Orleans. And it's just kind of the epitome of the Falcons this year, where you can see the potential they have on offense, especially, and you can see that Matt Ryan is still at least a top 10 quarterback, maybe a top 5 quarterback, and then they make these bad mistakes, and just kind of the epitome of the season for them, I think.
Right. All right. So yesterday against the spread, I'm looking at the experts against the spread on Pickwatch. 3 people went 3-0. Mike Milhurst-Schwartz from USA Today, Jim McBride from Boston Globe, and our own Ryan Fowler from Pickwatch, who does the Tuesday edition of the show. So Ryan should probably take over for us and kick us out because he's making good picks, and we're not right now. But congrats, Ryan. Nice job on picking all 3 of those teams. For the season right now, Ryan is 9th against the spread among the experts. I'm 28th or 33rd, so you and I need to, as we said last week, step up our game a little bit. So before we get to the rest of the games, hit us on Twitter. He's at Josh Katzowitz. I'm at Halpin37. The main account here is at Pickwatch. Remember, make your picks, track everybody else's picks, NFLPickwatch.com. Lots of cool stuff, team pages. You can check who's done well picking which teams. There's a whole bunch of different ways. Basically, I can list all the things you can do on NFLPickwatch.com. What you can really do is sort the picks, the data from the picks and past seasons picks any way you want. How I do picking the Cleveland Browns, how Josh does in certain weeks of every season. Like there's a whole bunch of ways you can sort the data. Just go check it out. Use the filters. Really, really cool. Get in the forums if you have comments you want to talk to other people, you want to talk to Sean and the development team about maybe things you have questions about or might want them to do. They're always willing to listen. So check it out, NFLPickwatch.com. All right. This show, if you're watching live on Facebook or wherever you're watching, later today we will have individual clips of each game discussion up on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. So check that out. All right, let's get to week 12. Chiefs Rams are on buys. So life is a little less fun this week with the Chiefs and the Rams not playing. Let's go to the rest. Jags Bills. Jags favored by 3. Over-under is 37. The big news here is that Josh Allen is expected to return for the Bills. We are not convinced that Josh Allen is a superstar quarterback, but he's probably better than anything else they've rolled out there over the last few weeks. The Jags, I want to ask you, last week the Jags basically had saved their season. 3/4 of the way into that game with the Steelers, they had saved their season, and then they threw it away. They as a friend of mine likes to say about teams, they threw up on themselves. So what happens now? I say every week, I don't like to talk about teams quitting, but I think I asked Ryan this on Tuesday. Is the win so out of the Jags' sails that they're just going to mail it in this week? Like that last week had to be a tremendous blow to their confidence.
Yeah, it also could have been a good thing too for their confidence. I mean, obviously the end result is not what they wanted, but they played well for most of that game against one of the best teams in the AFC. So they know that the pieces are there. I think the only danger that you maybe come across is not having any confidence in that quarterback and being able to lead them to a win with just kind of how mediocre Blake Bortles is. But, you know, they should have beaten Pittsburgh last week. They lost close to Philly and Indy the 2 weeks before that. I don't think they're going to quit or give up, and I know that's not what you were saying, but I don't see that win being taken out of their sails. I mean, I think, you know, Fournette's back, and it looked pretty good last week, and the running game finally is getting going a little bit. So no, I don't think they're going to be in a situation where they're giving up. But and this is a good week again. I mean, you have to look at Buffalo as a team that you can beat. It's even on the road. So no, I think they're going to be okay. I'm picking the Jags to win this game, even though it's on the road. They've lost like 15 in a row or whatever it is. I think they're going to be okay this week. And in reality, they could still win out and contend for a playoff spot. So the season's not lost necessarily yet for them.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they're 7 in a row. I'm not as bullish as you are on that. I don't know that you're bullish, but you don't think they're going to, you know, I'm basically out on the Jags right now. I think last week was just such a tough one. And the Bills are so pesky, you know, like that game against the Patriots. We talked about that a few weeks back on Monday night where I picked the Bills to cover the spread. And before the pick six late, they might have. Like they were giving the Patriots fits. And they're not good. I get that. But their defense is pretty good. And against Bortles at home, I don't know. I'm going Bills here just on the like I said, I just worry about where the Jags are right now. And I hate trying to get into players' heads because I know we can't do it, you know, from where we are. And even if you're in the locker room, I don't know if you can do it. But I know I can't from where I am. But after last week, I'm like, man, that is just that was such a killer for them that I don't know. I just don't like the spot they're walking into this week against a team that they probably should be.
Yeah, and you know, Josh Allen's coming back in and playing a couple months, and I'm thinking to myself, man, maybe we should just start Matt Barkley. You know, he's the best quarterback they've seen so far this year. Obviously, you can't do that. You need to figure out what you got in Josh Allen and make sure that he gets those reps and all that kind of stuff. But you know, if I'm Josh Allen, I'm not loving coming back against the Jags because the Jags on defense are still pretty good.
Yep. All right, so right now, I'm taking Jags. I'm taking Bills. You're taking Jags on NFLPickwatch.com. 58% of the experts are with you on the Jags. Next, Raiders-Ravens. Ravens favored by 10.5. Over-under is 42.5. Looks like they're going to roll with Lamar Jackson again. Joe Flacco is going to be out for at least one more week. And then if Lamar Jackson wins, who the heck knows what's going to happen. Alex Collins, the Ravens back, hasn't practiced this week. He's got a foot injury. Last week they leaned on Gus Edwards, sort of a north-south running fullback type. I joked with Ryan the other day that whenever coaches say after a game how much they like the decisiveness in the north-south running, that means they like a guy. Like the guy could gain 200 yards, but I like the north-south stuff even more. Because, not that I like it, but I know the coaches love it when they say that. I think it's a big deal. But the question I have here, Lamar Jackson did fine last week. He ran a lot. The passing game, they kind of shielded him from any disasters, or they tried to. With all this running, should a team be favored by double digits? You know? I know the Raiders are bad, but the running shortens the game, and you're asking for – I mean, if the Raiders scored 14 here, they probably cover. You know what I mean? It just seems like a big spread for the style of game that it's looking to be.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I mean, at the same time, this could be like a 16-3 type game or a 20-7 type game, and boom, you know, it's covered. You know, the Raiders are so bad. I don't see them going on some kind of scoring spree. And what's crazy is that I was looking at stats last night, and Oakland has a better turnover differential than the Ravens do. You know, Oakland's -4, and I think the Ravens are -5. Even though Baltimore has the number one defense in the league, they just don't get turnovers. But, you know, I see a lot of 3 and outs in Oakland's future.
Right.
And I think, you know, so if you're in that situation where you're getting a lot of 3 and outs, then you can you do a lot in offense on the other side. And even if you're running the ball a lot, you have a lot of the time of possession. And I don't see this as too crazy of a spread.
Okay. I'm going to pick the Ravens anyway. I'm going to pick them covering just because I think the Raiders are so bad, even with their nice win last week. Who do you have in this one? You're going Ravens?
Who do I have? No, I have the Raiders.
You have the Raiders? All right, so we both contradicted each other just now. I was pessimistic on the spread, and you were optimistic about covering. Yeah, I wonder definitely with the style of game and with a rookie quarterback who can make mistakes. But again, the Raiders are so bad. I just don't. I'm fine with the Ravens covering here.
Yeah, I forgot to look at it before I went into that research mode. Actually, I had a 10.5, but Raiders are plus 10.5. So
that's what we have now. It's 10.5. What we have on NFLPickwatch.com is 10.5.
Okay, yeah, because I guess it was 11.5 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I'll change. Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe I'll change it. I don't like. Sometimes I do these picks and I'm like, I do it kind of off the cuff. Like I just want to cut my gut feeling, and then when you get into it, you're like, oh wait, that gut feeling is completely wrong.
Yeah, I
may end up changing it, but I don't know. What do you think about Lamar Jackson as far as his future as a runner? That's getting a lot of play this week about. Dude ran 27 times last week. You can't have an NFL quarterback doing that. And then Harbaugh got kind of high and mighty and said, I got news for you. He's a thrower. He's a quarterback. I don't appreciate the insinuation of the question that he's not a quarterback. And
right. I think that in college he looked like a better passer. Like that he, people made a lot out of his running in college, but he was a pretty good passer too. And he was playing for a coach that Bobby Petrino, for whatever other issues Bobby Petrino has, that he was probably set up in a way that, the advancement, it wasn't going to be some sort of, huge learning curve in the NFL. But he was taught well. Let's put it that way. I think he'll be okay. He has shown this year that he's a little shaky as a passer, and the book on him from the scouts is that there are some fundamentals that he needs to work on, like foot placement and that kind of stuff. But I don't think he's just a runner. He's an incredible runner.
Yeah.
He's so fast. He was the fastest guy in the field last week. But I think his future as a passer is going to be okay. He's going to be good enough when you put it together with the running that I think he's going to be pretty good. But I do think, this week, I don't think he'll run 27 times. I think he'll probably run 15, which is fine.
Yeah.
And they're going to be run heavy. And, they might live with some mistakes in the passing game, but he's not going to throw 40 times. He's probably going to throw 20 again or something. Ideally, I think that's probably what they want to do.
And then give that ball to Gus, man.
Gus, Rutgers guy. I got to promote a Rutgers guy, so I'm happy. Gus Edwards that he ran well last week. So, all right. So we're probably both going Ravens here.
Yeah, you know what? I'm on the NFL Pickwatch site right now, and it's so easy to change your picks. That's what I'm doing right this very second. I'm gonna go Ravens at minus 10.5. Boom, I'm done.
Yep. There you go. Live switch in the middle of the show. How about that? All right, folks. So on NFLPickwatch.com, 54% of the experts are going with the Raiders and the spread. 62% of the fans are going with the Ravens to cover. Josh and I agree with the fans. So there you go. Next up, 49ers Bucks. Bucks favored by 3.5 at home. Over under 55. James Winston, welcome back. We knew it would happen. We didn't know when. Bucks news, they're going to be without O.J. Howard, who was put on injury reserve. That hurts. He's a nice player. They probably didn't use him enough, but he's a good player, and that's going to hurt them the rest of the year. This is two bad football teams, right?
Yeah, they're bad. Buccaneers are pretty good on offense, but yeah, overall they're bad.
Okay.
Well, they're not great on offense. They're not. They put up a lot of yards. They're actually number one in the league in yards gained. So, but only 8 points scored. So, a little bit of a situation where you can move the ball, but you can't necessarily score.
Got it. All right. So, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, the Niners, Nick Mullins has done fine. The Giants gave me through a couple of picks, but he's done fine. And I think him playing in a road game here, even against the Bucks, he could finally run into a little trouble. He's still a third string quarterback who threw a bunch of interceptions in the preseason, if I remember correctly. And he has to play badly at some point, even with Kyle Shanahan calling plays for him, who everybody loves Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't keep relying on a guy like that. And it's hard to, it's hard to rely on backups over and over again throughout the same season. I mean, even Fitzpatrick is a great example. I mean, I talked earlier in the year about being in Cincinnati, I think for the 2008 season maybe, or 2009, and Fitzpatrick had to play like 12 or 13 games after Carson Palmer got hurt early in the season, and how every week it was such a grind just watching him because he was so bad. And this year he masked out a lot for most of the year by just throwing four incredible amounts of yards. And now you kind of see, oh yeah, I remember Fitzpatrick now is a backup, and I remember why. You see why. And it's just hard to count on a backup all season long to continue to play well throughout the season. So I think at some point you're right. I think Nick is going to play badly. The problem with this game is the Buccaneers defense is pretty bad. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess we've seen out Fitzpatrick in the last couple of games, 7 INTs and a lost fumble. You had to start Jameis Winston again because, again, Dirk Cotter is coaching for his career at this point, or coaching for his job. You have to go with the guy you think you can do well. And last time Winston started to replace Fitzpatrick, goes 30 of 41 for 395 yards and 4 TDs against Atlanta. So I don't know. I like the Bucs here. San Francisco's 0-5 on the road this year. They got to go make that long trip across the country. I think this is a tough spot for San Francisco.
Okay.
Let me just as a quick aside, because I'll give you the last word. We just talked about turnover differential with Oakland and Baltimore. San Francisco is second to last in the league in turnover differential with minus 15, which is pretty bad. Tampa Bay is last. Right. Tampa Bay is last with minus 23. They're 8 worse than the second worst in the league. It's crazy.
All right. So we both got the Bucs here, given the 3.5. So one other note about this game, the over-under, it's 55, which is pretty high. 9 of the last 13 have gone over for the Niners. 9 of the last 11 have gone over for the Bucs. The Bucs can't stop anybody. So I think over is not a bad bet in this game. Okay. Giants-Eagles. Eagles by 6, over-under 46.5. I'm seeing 5.5 in places. So it started at 6.5, I think, and it's dropped. So the Giants have won 2 in a row, and I got people excited. I got my kids telling me they're going to win out and make the playoffs, which I think is really nice and cute and stuff, but it's not.
How old are your kids? They're like 7 and 9?
They're 14 and 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they should probably know better, but okay.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't look at you funny. They're old enough to where I can't look at them and go, oh, that's nice. You like your team. I'm like, what are you kidding me? It's nonsense. The Giants are, their winning streak 2 in a row. Well, it's 49ers and Bucs. Well, all right. Yay. The Giants now, actually, though, interesting, 4-1 against the spread on the road. The Eagles 1-4 against the spread at home. This is weird because the Eagles are just playing terribly. They're something's wrong. It's not, hey, it's just post. Well, probably. I don't know if it's post Super Bowl stumbles. I don't know what would play into that. Their offense just seems to be all over the place. The line has been banged up a little bit all year. They traded for Golden Tate, and it's kind of like it's almost like they don't know what to do with him. They've got this guy to fit in, and he sort of doesn't fit. They kind of jammed him like, oh, here's a good player. Let's use him. And it's not really working so far. I don't know. I don't know what to make of these guys. I think part of me thinks the spread's too big, and the Giants actually have improved enough to make a game of this.
Do you know the last time the Giants had a 2-game winning streak?
It's a couple of years at least, right?
Yeah, week 14 and 15 of the 2016 season.
Correct. Well, they won 3 games last year. You can't have a winning streak when you win 3 games last season. It's hard.
Well, they've only won 2 games this year. Or no, how many? What are they? 3-7? No, they're 2.
They're 3-7.
So they won 3 games this year. They got a 2-game winning streak. So hey, things are looking up for them. It's the Eagles have been so disappointing this year, especially losing the Cowboys at home. Getting blown up by the Saints, you keep waiting. And there's a few teams like this in the league. You keep waiting for them just to kind of play like they're supposed to be playing. I think the Packers fall into this category too. You're just kind of waiting for them to be like the team you think they should be, and maybe they're just not. Going into Sunday, and they've got basically 3 healthy cornerbacks. Eli could have another good game.
Yep.
Last time they played the Eagles, Saquon Barkley averaged 10 yards a carry and caught 9 passes for 99 yards. So even though the Giants got beat up in that game, there is a path forward with that offense. You can say, okay, but we know the Eagles are not good. They're hurting a little bit on defense. Let's use Saquon, obviously. Let's get that Eli train moving. Let's get Odell involved a lot. And I think the Giants could win this game straight up.
Man, that would be it would be so funny watching the New York media go crazy about how the Giants have saved their season if they win this game.
Actually, I have the Eagles straight up over the Giants, but I do have the Giants at +6. So I think it will be a close game.
I'm the same as you. I think the Eagles win straight up, but I think the Giants make a game of it. All right, Eagles, by the way, their injury report, they still got a bunch of corners who are not practicing, to your point a minute ago. Because last week they were without their top, probably, 3 corners? Or 2 at least. And the guys weren't practicing on Thursday. I mean, Sidney Jones, Douglas, Jalen Mills, they're all not practicing again. So I don't know what's going on there, but they're really hurting over there. And Odell Beckham could feast in a situation like that. So, yeah, I'm with you. The Giants against the spread right now, we have 58% of the experts taking the Giants +6 and 54% of the fans taking the Giants +6.
Can you look
Josh, again, what is the running theme with the sun on the side of my head? I thought it was going to be cloudy this morning. Apparently not.
Hey, what's straight up? What do the experts say straight up?
What do the experts say straight up? I can look that up. Hang on. Straight up, we have 91% Eagles.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I mean, this could be an upset special. I wouldn't feel totally uncomfortable picking the Giants straight up either here.
My heavens. Could you imagine? I'd actually get excited about this season a little bit again. Actually, I wouldn't get excited. I'd be more angry that they're continuing to play themselves away from the top of the draft. That's the way I feel with them.
Yeah. And then you also trap saying, well, maybe Eli Manning can lead the team to victory.
Yes.
And you're like, that's a slippery slope.
That's what might happen, though. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what might happen. That they're going to convince themselves that Eli is okay and that they should do another season of this nonsense. So, whatever. All right, next. Browns-Bengals. Bengals by 3, over under 47. AJ Green's status, he didn't practice Thursday again. So last week, they brought him to Baltimore, and they worked him out before the game. And that leads you to think, hey, he's close. Okay, he worked out, and they said, you know what, we're going to keep him out again. But now he's still not practicing. So, I mean, how much of your feeling on this game hinges on AJ Green?
It doesn't a whole lot for me. I've seen so many Browns-Bengals games that I know the Browns have shown some signs of life. But the Browns, in the last 10 years, the Browns have won one time in Cincinnati. They play every year in Cincinnati. They've won once in the last 10 years. So it's hard. And I've seen so many of those games. It's hard for me to look at the Browns going to Cincinnati and think they're going to have a chance. I still don't think the Browns are very good. So I don't see AJ Green as the defining factor here.
Okay. This spread says to me, I said this to Ryan the other day, normally you say, okay, you give the home team 3 points when doing spread. That's, your rule of thumb. This point spread says to me that the Browns are getting respect. That on a neutral field, this would be a pick 'em game. And that's sort of a statement that people are starting to buy into the Browns.
I kind of feel like it's they're giving a little bit more disrespect to Cincinnati than it is giving respect to the Browns. So I don't know. I don't know if I yeah. Why are people so bullish on the Browns all of a sudden? They won last week, but they're pretty horrible. I mean,
they won 3 games. That's like any other team winning 12. Right.
They won their last 5, so it's not like
I know.
It's not like they're on our gargantuan Giants like winning streak here,
Gargantuan. I love that. All right.
Let's talk about the Hugh Jackson factor. Now that he's working in Cincinnati, I wonder if there's ever been a head coach who's been fired mid-season, gone to work for an opposing team. They play each other, and that opposing team wins. I wonder if that's ever happened. I tried looking that up last night, but I didn't really know what to even Google to even find that.
Yeah, that's a hard one. You hear about it with players all the time, right? They'll sign some 7th-string cornerback the week before playing that a team cut the week before playing them and try to mine intelligence out of him. Everybody goes, "Oh no, that's why they signed him, because he's going to spill all the secrets."
Oh, well, did Josh McDaniels do that? Did he go back to? He went back to New England that year, right? When he got fired by Denver. I wonder if they ever played. They probably never play each other.
I don't know.
Isn't that right?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the sequence of events was on that. So
I would have to look that up, I guess.
All right, so we've both got Bengals right now, and I mean, this is not one of my favorites. This is not one of the ones I would go out of the way to pick, but I'm going Bengals and giving the 3. I don't like the Browns enough with this close of a spread on the road.
I don't feel terribly about picking the Bengals here. You know, I've just seen that history so much that the Bengals are going to struggle with Pittsburgh at home, but they're going to beat the Browns at home. So I'm fine with this one.
Okay. Right now on NFLPickwatch.com, 64% of the experts have the Bengals given the 3. 60% of the fans have the Bengals given the 3. So they're with us. Next, Pats Jets. We've got the spread at 9.5, over under 47. Rob Gronkowski's coming back for the Pats. The Jets look like they're going with Josh McCown at quarterback again. Sam Darnold, I don't believe, is practicing. This is your bet your life savings game. You love the Pats here.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to find Josh McDaniels information. If that was right, I can't find it. Anyway, yeah, I like. The Jets just aren't very good. And I don't think the Patriots are. This is not one of the best Patriots teams that we've ever seen. But I don't know. It was ever since they fired Rex Ryan. I mean, when the Jets had Rex Ryan coaching the team, they could play Patriots, and they could play them even. That was like Rex Ryan's big goal in his life was to beat the Patriots, and they did a lot. They beat them more than they should probably.
Right. Since
Todd Bowles is there, he's 1-5 against them. He hasn't won against the Patriots in a couple of years, and it seems like whatever swagger the Jets had when they were playing the Patriots went away with Rex Ryan. So it's hard to look at this Jets team and say, they're going to have a chance against the Patriots, or they're going to even, what's the spread, 9.5? I think the Patriots are going to cover the spread pretty easily. I just think the Jets are bad. They're probably going to lose their coach after the end of the season, and they'll have to move on. And I just think I just think the Jets are in a bad space overall.
They might. That's what I'm trying to figure out with this game because my instinct is they've had a couple of they've played a few decent games at home. Like this is not a team that's just been bad all year. They've shown signs, right? And then they come off the bye. If they have any fight left at all, they make a decent game of this. I think their defense is kind of okay. So I don't know. I don't know. A couple of weeks ago when Josh McCown played, he wasn't good. I mean, there was a sense. I know I shared some of it that in the short term, the Jets might be better off with a game or two of McCown because Darnold was struggling with turnovers. Like I don't think that means he's going to be a bad quarterback. I just think that McCown might have been a bit of a stabilizing force, and he just didn't play well. So I don't know here. I mean, it's a lot of points at home. And the Pats on the road have just, they're 2-3 on the road. They lost to Jacksonville. They got kind of killed by Jacksonville. Same against Detroit. Same against Tennessee. They won at Chicago in that game that we disagreed on that week by 7. And that game against Buffalo that we talked about earlier, they struggled. They won 25-6, but the Bills gave them a hard time. Like I'm looking at the Pats, and I feel like they're not the usual Pats. They're a bit of they're a notch below their usual awesomeness. And I feel like I don't want to give that many points with them on the road. Maybe I'm nuts. You probably think I am.
No, I don't think you're nuts. But I mean, they're coming off the bye week, and like I said, I think you're right. The Patriots aren't the Patriots. They're going to only see, but I think the Jets are done. And
okay.
I don't see this as a much of a fight here.
All right, you got the Pats. I've got the Jets against the spread. We have got 80% of the experts are giving the points to the Pats. They're with you. 60. How many more are we on the 80% of the fans with the? So I'm on an island here. Is where we are. So okay, I can take that. By the way, I looked. You and I. There are 13 games this week. You and I disagree on 9. Makes for a good show. Anyway, we got to yell at each other more. Yeah. Like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. We should yell and call each other stupid.
We should. Can we curse on the show? I never even asked. Can we curse? Because we can go. We can do some cursing. I think against each other.
It's the internet. Anything goes, right?
I need to ask Sean if we can curse, or if we can only curse like old English style.
Bollocks.
You wanker, bloody wanker.
Right now, the guys showing the developers watching, going, "Oh, look at these guys thinking they know they're trying to be British.
I know.
They think they're hilarious. They're so not."
Thanksgiving, all you Brits.
All right.
You know what? Hey, I did Josh McDaniels information. All right, so let me just give you this breakdown real quick because it was bugging me if Josh McDaniels got fired and then went to the Patriots and beat somebody. So he after the Patriots, he was hired as the offensive coordinator in St. Louis for 2011, and then that team got Steve Spagnuolo and the whole coaching staff basically got fired. Well, actually, I guess McDaniels they said he could come back, but he decided to leave. Went to the Patriots for the playoffs in 2011, and then for the playoffs in 2011, the Patriots beat the Broncos 45-10. So it was a year removed, but not too far off of him beating his old team in the same season. It was just the next season in the playoffs. So that answers my question. We still don't know if a coach has ever been fired midway through the season and come back to beat that team later in the year like Hugh Jackson has the opportunity to.
Right.
But there you go. Just for my own sake, I just been doing research the last 3 segments that we've talked about just so I know.
Is everybody happy with the resolution to this research, everyone?
There's no resolution, but no, Josh McDaniels didn't do it. So
okay.
Sorry to take a Bible time by
No
researching something that doesn't matter in the slightest.
It's interesting. Seahawks, Panthers. Panthers by 3.5. Over-unders 47. Big wild card ramifications in this game. The Panthers, 5-0 at home, 1-4 on the road. We've got the West Coast team with the 1 o'clock start. Never easy. The Seahawks, 4-1-1 against the spread in the last 6. They're playing pretty well. We've got a couple of wide receiver injuries. Doug Baldwin, groin injury. Devin Funchess, back injury. I think Baldwin might have been limited on Thursday. Funchess did not practice, so we're going to have to watch both of those. The weird thing here, I live in Charlotte. I watched the Panthers. Look, see, the logo. I got the logo right there. I don't know what's going on.
You should be wearing it.
I know I shouldn't, but I grabbed it. I thought it'd be fun because it's a football show again, but I don't know what to make of them. I don't get it. Because the game they played against the Ravens, I know the Ravens aren't great. They dominated them. They had a couple of games at home and they dominated people. And then last week against the Lions, and I get that home and road games are different. And with other teams, I get this team, like they could beat the Seahawks by 20. They could lose. Nothing would surprise me right now.
Yeah, this was my game scares the hell out of me this week because I feel the same way. Last week, it was your bet your mortgage game on the Panthers beating the Lions, and that didn't happen, obviously. So that kind of tells you that I don't really know where they are, I guess. I mean, I thought they were better than they were, but they could be still pretty good, but we just don't know. I mean, I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we talked about how the Panthers may be like the 4th best team in the NFC. And then we did that show on Thursday night, and we saw them just get destroyed by Pittsburgh, and I was like, oh, maybe they're not the best, they're the 4th best or whatever. And they've shown in the last couple of weeks that they're maybe not quite as good as we thought. Yeah, I don't have any idea about this game. I mean, it seems to me like Russell Wilson is the reason the Seahawks are 5-5, even in the spot. Like he's been really good this year, and he doesn't have a ton of weapons around him. And if Baldwin doesn't play, it's going to be another huge factor, I think. And it seems like Russell Wilson is kind of willing this team to victory, and I just don't know how you can keep doing that. I don't know, going on the road to Carolina. I think this is a tough one for Seattle. I think Carolina's gonna be good enough to win this game and cover that 3.5. But I kind of still don't know where Carolina is in the grand scheme of things of going to the playoffs. I mean, I think they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs, and I'm not sure you want to see that team. If you have home field advantage and Carolina gets that wild card and they have to come to you in wild card week on the wild card weekend, I'm not sure you want to see Carolina. But I still don't know where they are exactly. It's tough.
And the tough one for me about this one, looking at the matchup, the Panthers have been getting killed on the ground lately. Their defensive line is just not playing well. And the Seahawks have been basically running the ball more and as well as anybody in the league. So it's kind of a bad fit. Now, of course, this could be the game where they step up and they hold Seattle to 51 yards rushing or something. But I'm looking at the matchup. Either way, I think it will be a close game, and I don't want to give the 3.5. So
you go Seattle?
I'm going Seattle against the spread, and you're going Panthers. Because we disagree. We've got on Pickwatch 62% of the experts going Panthers, 57% of the fans going Seahawks. So there's some disagreement on this one. All right, Dolphins, Colts. Okay, this is interesting to me. Colts at home by 7.5. Over under 51.5. This spread started at 9.5. We're down to 7.5 because Ryan Tannehill's back. Is that where we are? That surprises me a lot.
I don't. Yeah, I can't explain that. I don't know.
Right.
I think that, I think you can look at the Colts and say, wow, they're playing pretty good, man. I mean, this is a team that can make the playoffs. I led with the Colts in my column this week about if the Colts can actually make the playoffs. Start the season 1-5. Coming into the season, people worried about Andrew Luck and whether or not he's going to kind of be that elite quarterback that we've seen so much from him. And he's been great. Offensive line's been great. Even Eric Ebron has kind of reemerged from being kind of disappointing as a player in this league. So yeah, I mean, I think I make the argument in the column that they could certainly make the playoffs, and it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to even think that. But 9.5, I don't think you can look at Indy and say, well, that's a juggernaut. And I don't think you can say, well, yeah, they'll beat the Dolphins by 10 or more. I think it's hard to look at it like that. So I can see where Vegas kind of stretches out a little bit and says 9.5, and then kind of gets slapped down a little bit by bettors. I'd have a hard time picking the Dolphins at plus 9.5.
You have a hard time picking the Dolphins at plus 9.5, or a hard time picking the Colts?
I'm sorry, I have a hard time picking the Colts at minus 9.5. Yeah, I think that's too much.
All right.
I'm going with the Dolphins anyway. I mean, even at 7.5, I'm picking the Dolphins. Even a touchdown or more, even a touchdown and a half is a little. I don't know. It just feels a little too much for me, I guess.
All right.
I don't think the Colts are going to blow. I'm not sure the Colts are going to be blowing anybody out.
I feel the opposite of you in this game, like completely diametrically opposite. I mean, Andrew Luck hasn't gotten sacked. The Colts they're good. They're improving all the time. They're 5-5 now. Luck hasn't been sacked in a month. They're averaging last 4 games in 4 wins. They're averaging 36.5 a game. Like their offensive line in particular is playing very well. The defense is kind of okay. I use that term a lot here and too much, but they're not great. But the defense is adequate. They're average. They're fine. The Dolphins, they've lost 3 out of 4. And in the win, it was the win against the Jets where I think they won 13-6, and they scored only a defensive touchdown. I mean, I know Tannehill's back, and he's better than Osweiler, but he's not good. I just think the Dolphins are a bad team. And I think the Colts are at the point where they're maybe slightly above average. I think they're going to hand it to the Dolphins here. I think this is a great spot for the Colts.
Okay. Well, Dolphins coming off the bye, so you got to give them a little bit there. Tannehill hasn't been very good, but he hasn't been awful either this year.
Right.
I don't know. I can see your point. For me, giving him 7.5 was a step too far, but I can see your point.
All right. What do we got here on NFLPickwatch.com? We have got 67% of the experts going with the Colts, giving the points. 61% of the fans with the Colts, giving the points.
So they agree with you?
They do. All right. Chargers, Cardinals. Chargers at home, favored by 12, over under 44. The Chargers are now 1-4 against the spread at home. The only team they really beat, kind of gave it to was Cleveland. Everything else was a, close game when they won. The Cardinals, they had a terrible game against the Raiders last. I mean, there's no excuse for them to lose to the Raiders at home, even for a team as bad as the Cardinals, whose defense is not bad generally. But you think back a couple weeks ago at Kansas City, they were competitive. Since they've changed offensive coordinators, they've been a little different. On offense, they haven't been a dumpster fire. They haven't been great, but they've been better. I don't know. The Chargers last week, I have been so bullish on the Chargers this year, and I thought they were over the games where they were going to just do something stupid and lose a game they shouldn't lose. And then last week they did something stupid and win a lost game they shouldn't lose. Yeah.
What I was thinking about last night was, are the Chargers a team that can make a Super Bowl? I'm not sure. I look at them and see like Super Bowl contender, even though they have been good this year. And I think last week against the Broncos at home kind of confirmed that I'm not sure the Chargers are a Super Bowl kind of caliber team.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? In the 5 of their last 6 games, the Chargers have allowed at least one fourth-quarter touchdown. Where they don't, before that stretch of the last 6, they'd only done it twice the rest of the season. So I think if you're looking at it just from a pure against the spread situation, you can see the Cardinals kind of backdoor covering in the fourth quarter, pick up a touchdown or two, and come in and get that plus 12. I mean, I think the Chargers are going to win. I think the Cardinals are pretty bad here, but I don't love that 12-point spread. I think the Cardinals can cover that.
I don't love it either. I just wonder if after last week, the Chargers have a bit of a, I don't know if chip on their shoulder is the right word, but after losing that game last week, they kind of get pissed off.
Arizona or who? LA?
The Chargers. They kind of, after losing that bad game of the Broncos, they kind of get pissed off and come in and just blow out an inferior team. I don't know. I don't love this one either, but we got to make a pick. So I'm taking the Chargers. I'm giving them.
Yeah, I'm taking Cardinals. What do the experts say?
Experts are 62% Chargers giving the points. Fans are 64% Chargers giving the points. So that's where we're on that one. Okay. Steelers, Broncos. Broncos favored by 3. Steelers favored by 3 at Denver. Over under is 40.
FYI, the Cardinals are 5-4-1 against the spread this year, so
they're not bad, right?
Better against the spread. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Broncos, Steelers. So the Steelers these are two teams playing well. The Steelers have won, I think, 6 in a row. 5-0-1 against the spread in their last 6. The Broncos are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. The Broncos at home. The Broncos play well at home. Like I'm not sure. After that game last week, again, I think part of it was the Chargers self-destruct a little bit. The Broncos, they played well. The delayed drive by Keenan, that was really nice. Are the Broncos getting better? Like, I thought they were a bad team who kind of played well at home sometimes. I'm not so sure they're a bad team anymore. I don't think they're good, but are they not as bad as I thought?
I think they're a team that is going to lose a lot of games, but lose them close. So I don't know whether you consider that a bad team. They're certainly not a good team, especially when they were on a stretch of they won one of their last, I think, 7, one of their last 8, I think. And before they played the Chargers, I think that's what it was. But a lot of those games have been close. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs by a touchdown. They lost to the Texans by 2 points. They lost to the Rams by a field goal. And even before that, they had lost to the Chiefs again by 4 points. So this is a team that was not terrible, but a team that couldn't win games. I'm not sure that there's any reason to see any difference because they beat the Chargers last week, even though that was certainly a good win for them on the road. Just because the Broncos looked good last week, I'm not sure. I'm looking at them and having too much trouble picking this game. Although, you know what? I say that I actually don't Broncos. So
I'm on the fence.
I don't know what to do, John. I mean, like, this NFL season's been crazy for me. It's hard to so many of these matchups. I don't know. I feel one way about it, and then the exact opposite happens, and then my confidence is shot, man.
I'm with you. This game, the weird thing about this game is that if they were giving me a half a point either way, I'd have an easier time making a decision.
Yeah.
I think this will be a close game. I tend to think the Steelers are going to win. But if it was 3.5, I go, okay, I think the Broncos can keep it within a field goal. And I know I'm not trying to peg the number on 3 as where I think the game will end up, but it would make me lean. If it was 2.5, I go, all right, I think the Steelers are going to win out. Therefore, I think they'll probably win by field goal. If it was the other way, I think I'd take the Broncos. Since it's 3, I'm not quite sure. I think right now on the site I have Broncos. I think I'm flipping to Steelers because I think the Broncos winning outright here and getting to 5 and 6 and beating a good team in the Steelers, I think that might be asking just a little much.
Yeah, I'm trying to it's weird. I have Pittsburgh over Denver straight up, but I have Denver at +3, so I'm really walking a fine line there. I was looking up at the at Pittsburgh, how they do in Denver. And Pittsburgh doesn't do very well in Denver since 2000. I think they've won one time. I think they might be 1-3 or 1-4 in Denver. So it's not like Pittsburgh goes to Denver and does well usually. So that high altitude bothers a lot of teams, and it doesn't seem to do all that well with Pittsburgh.
All right. So you got the Broncos.
I have the Broncos. Yeah, I have Pittsburgh straight up, and the Broncos at +3.
I think I'm flipping the Steelers.
See the Steelers against the spread.
Yeah, and we've got experts on NFLPickwatch.com 64% Steelers, fans 71% Steelers. I don't know. This is I might have a different pick Sunday. Like I don't know what to make of this one, honestly. Of all the games, this is the hardest one to pick for me.
But you know what they did last week to pull out the win against Jacksonville, that really does show you. I mean, that like we're talking about the Chargers. I'm not sure I see the Chargers as a Super Bowl caliber team. What the Steelers did last week, they didn't play well for most of that game, and they probably should have really beat the crap out of Jacksonville. But to win like they did really is really impressive to me. I think it shows you that Pittsburgh is a team I can see in the Super Bowl versus the Chargers, so I don't really see in that role, you know?
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not sure there's a huge talent disparity between those two teams either.
Right. All right. Sunday night, Packers-Vikings. Vikings favored by 3.5 at home. Over under 47.5. But I joked with Ryan that in my notes on Tuesday I put snow as in the forecast, but it's a dome. So really, it doesn't. That was the first thing I wrote because I think I did it late Monday night and Tuesday. I'm like, what did I do? Why did I write that? Packers 4-0-1 at home, but 0-5 on the road. So the Packers, big injury news for the Packers. Jimmy Graham, I know he didn't practice Wednesday. I don't know about Thursday. He broken thumb. Initially, they said they might try to play through it. I don't see that happening. Randall Cobb might be back for them, which is nice. I look at the Packers. And with a lot of teams who are in the middle of the road, Packers are 4-5-1. You can do the glass half empty or the glass half full, right? I'm looking at the Packers and I go, they had that miracle comeback in week 1 against the Bears. They came back on that Monday night against the 49ers where they were down by a touchdown with 3 minutes left, and Aaron Rodgers bailed them out again. This to me is a team that's a couple of lucky plays away from being 2-7-1. I think they're not good. I don't think the record says they're mediocre, and Bill Parcells said you are what your record says you are. I think the Packers are less than mediocre. I think they are trending downward, and that McCarthy's going to get fired, and they're not going to finish the season well.
I mean, there's certainly a feel like I can understand why you feel that way. I mean, statistically speaking, they're not a bad team. We look at the offense. I mean, I think they're 13th in yards gained and 16th in points allowed. So it's the definition of mediocre pretty much. But I don't think they're horrible. But you're right. But when you look, there's a certain feel about that team that you don't. Like I said, you keep expecting them to be good, or to be like the Packers that you're used to seeing with Aaron Rodgers in charge, and you just haven't seen that. That kind of just makes you pause and say, well, maybe this team just doesn't have it this year. And,
right.
Going to Minnesota, it's tough. I think this will be a close game. I have Minnesota straight up, but I have the Packers against the spread at was it 3.5?
It's 3.5.
So I'm looking at the Vikings. I think it's a game where the Vikings win by a field goal, and it'll be a close game. And it's actually my fun game of the week because I think it'll be interesting. Because I think it will be fun to watch because against these two NFC North rivals, basically the loser here is going to be out of the playoff picture for the most part.
Yeah, it's tough.
And,
the Packers are pretty done if they don't win this game.
Yeah, and the Vikings have won 4 of their last 6, and I still think it's a little bit like we're waiting for the Vikings to play like we're expecting them to, and they haven't quite gotten there yet either. But I think they're a little bit ahead of the Packers. I think just a little bit better than Green Bay, and at home, I like them.
Okay,
but not against the Vikings. Against the spread. I'm sorry, against the spread. I like Green Bay. I like Vikings.
I'm giving the points and taking the Vikings. On NFLPickwatch.com, we have got 54% Vikings with the experts, 55% Packers for the fans. So there's some disagreement there. Not wide disagreement, but the fans are with you. The experts are with me. Monday night, Titans-Texans at Houston. Texans favored by 6, over under 41. The big news is Marcus Mariota. His elbow got hurt last week. technically on Thursday it's what I read an article from the Tennessean. He was limited in a walkthrough. So I don't know. Vrabel said, I'm going to give you the quote. Mike Vrabel said that he's, quote, hopeful that things are trending up, end quote, Marcus Mariota. That is as vague gets about the status of Marcus Mariota for Monday night. If Mariota's out, like I will lay the 6. I will run to whatever window or app that I can with my money and lay the 6 and take the Texans.
You know, I'll have you know, John, Blaine Gabbert is 2-0 this year as a starter. Okay, so
I don't hate Blaine Gabbert as a backup.
No, I know,
but
yeah, he's pretty mediocre at best. It's funny how like the season turned so quickly for Tennessee. You know, they come off that win against the Patriots, and I think I had them beating the Colts last week. I can't remember. And then they just go out and get blown out by Indy, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, the Titans maybe they suck again without Mariota. They certainly aren't very good. Yeah, I don't know. I talk. Seems like I talk every week about I'm still not sold on Houston, even though they've won like 7 in a row or something like that. It's crazy.
You want to hear a great list of their 7-game winning streak?
Yep. Yeah.
Here's the quarterbacks: Andrew Luck. Okay.
Yeah.
Dak, the Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman combo, Bortles, Osweiler, Keenum, and then Alex Smith in the game he got hurt, and then Coleman. Those are the 7. I mean, there's no Aaron Rodgers on that list of teams that the Texans have beaten. Now they're taking care of business, that's for sure. Yeah. But you know, it's not like there's any world beaters that they've been playing really good defense against.
No. So now you get maybe they get Blaine Gabbert this week, and that's another victory for Houston. Yeah, I don't like I said, I'm not sold on Houston, but I think at this point, if Mariota doesn't play, I don't see how the Titans win.
I don't either, and I think the Texans cover fairly easily if Mariota doesn't play. If he does play, I don't know, because I don't know how effective he'll be. Remember, early in the season, this elbow injury supposedly related to the injury he had that prevented him from gripping the football well, and he had a stretch there where he didn't play well, and he started getting healthier and playing better. But I don't know if this comes like I wish I understood the injury better. Yeah, because I don't quite understand. I'm gonna, as of right now, I'm gonna take the Texans and give the points.
Yeah, you know what? I have the Titans, and I don't love that pick. That may be a situation where I go in later and change it before the game starts. But I think more than anything that speaks to my kind of still discomfort with Houston, and I just don't think they're that good. Even though they're going to win the division, it looks like. Well, I mean, I don't know. I talk, and like I said in my column, about how the Colts could come back and potentially make the playoffs, and they could potentially win the division if they go on those crazy streak of games. The Colts could. Mm-hmm. I don't think they will. I think that the Texans will still win the division, but I'm just not sold on them. I don't know. They've all these wins they've got. I mean, they beat the Bills by 7. They beat the Cowboys by 3. They beat the Colts by 3. They beat the Redskins by 2. They beat the Broncos by 2. So it's not like they're getting these huge like blowout wins. I mean, they did beat the Dolphins, 42-23. But I don't know. I don't know what their spread record is. I guess I can look that up. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the Texans kind of blowing out the Titans here, even if Mariota doesn't play. They are Houston's 4-6 against the spread this year. So
okay, yeah, I think. I mean, if Mariota plays, I might take the Titans in the points because I've been pretty bullish on the Titans, even though they laid an egg last week. But if Mariota doesn't play, I mean, that's what my pick is going to hinge on. And now, if the spread goes up, then I would have to see what it goes up to if Mariota is officially declared out at some point. I just have a feeling this might linger into the weekend, and we're not going to sure what his.
I'm surprised I'm surprised there's even kind of a line at this point if it's so unsure.
Yeah, they finally – actually, some places didn't have one yesterday, but some did. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait on that. But right now in Pickwatch, it's 6.
If it's Blaine Gabbert starting, I wonder if that line – was that line? What's the right line then? Is it +8, +9 if Gabbert starts?
Know. Something close to 10 to make us really think about it. So, right now, we've got Texans – experts are 53% Texans. Fans are 61% Texans against the spread. So,
but say it does go up to 10 with Blaine Gabbert starting. I mean, there's still no way I'm going to pick the Texans to cover that. I think that's way too much.
That's a lot. That's true. All right. So right now, I'm going to do a little screen share so we can see what's going on here. We've got, hold please. Where's the screen share? Darn it. Here we go. All right. So we have got the overwhelming, the most popular expert picks. 80% Patriots given the points, 78% Buccaneers, and 71% had the Redskins. By the way, that Redskins-Cowboys game, the spread was 7.5. Cowboys won by 8, and remember that the Redskins missed an extra point. So that's a bad beat right there. I forgot.
I thought originally watching the game. I thought it was. I forgot. And I thought that it was 8, and I was like, "Oh, right, finally. I got one right finally."
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Redskins kicker. Is it Dustin Hopkins? I think it's Dustin Hopkins. Most popular fan picks on the fan page now. Again, 80% Patriots, and fans are 70% Steelers. The fan toss-ups: 54% Giants, 55% Packers with the spread. And the experts, the toss-ups, are 53% Texans, 54% Raiders and Vikings. So if you want to go contrarian this week, it might be the Niners, it might be the Broncos, it really might be the Jets. It would depend on, you'd have to, I mean, that's quite a team to trust, is the Jets. I mean, I'm picking them, but I can't say, oh yeah, I'm definitely going with the Jets because no one else. Well, okay, it's the Jets. They've been bad. What else you got going on, Josh?
Hey, John, have you ever been doxxed before? Do you know what doxxed is?
Yeah, you get outed and get your name and number and address thrown out there to people and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I read a lot about YouTube. I read a little bit about Twitch. So I read a lot about streaming services for my full-time gig at the Daily Dot. And I wrote about a Twitch streamer. And it turns out she accidentally doxed me on her stream. She actually I had emailed her about something for a story. My phone number was in her inbox, that the little preview section. My signature is Josh Katzowitz, Daily Dot, my phone number, blah blah blah, and it's out there. And I'm like, what happened? Why is my number being out there? Why's my number out there for the world to see? So
did you get a bunch of threatening phone calls?
I didn't get any phone calls. So I'm on one hand, it's like I got any phone calls. On the other hand, I'm like, wait a minute, how come nobody called me?
Yeah. Can I get doxxed again? Can someone? Awesome. All right. Folks, hit us on Twitter. He is at Josh Katzowitz. I'm at jhalpin37, and our main account is at Pickwatch. Again, if you're watching on Facebook, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please like our Facebook page. The Facebook is where we go live. We put it on YouTube later, including the individual game discussions. If you want to hear us talk about Titans-Texans for about 4 or 5 minutes later on YouTube, you'll be able to do that. So, all right, that's it for today's edition of Pickwatch Live. Remember, I'll be back here at 11:45 a.m. Eastern on Sunday after the inactives are out to just check in with the latest news, see if those injuries mean anything, see if AJ Green is playing, that kind of thing. So please come on back to our Facebook page then, because that's a Facebook Live broadcast, not on YouTube. That's it. For Josh Katzowitz, I'm John Halpin. Happy post-Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday, everybody. And thank you for watching Pickwatch Live.